UFC Fight Night Adesanya versus Pyfer goes down on Saturday, and I'm here to give my full card predictions. So, kicking off the card, we have Alexia Thainera versus Bruno Brazil. I'm picking Alexia Thainera to get this one done by a decision. Bruno Brazil, she's not offensive enough in her fights. The only times where I've ever seen her look decent in fights is against opponents who will let her land strikes on her and not do anything about it. Plus, she doesn't have very good takedown defense. Alexia Thainera, she is very good in the she's a very solid grappler. She should be able to get the takedowns and control her for the full distance whenever she takes her down. There's not really a whole lot to break down in this fight. Give me Alexia Thainera to win this one by unanimous decision. Up the card, we have Ricky Simón taking on Adrian Yanez. This is a very good matchup here. Adrian Yanez, I know once a lot of people were very high on him. You know, he was looking pretty good. He was finishing a lot of people, a lot of the KOs. But he hasn't really lived up to the hype much. He's like 1-3 in his last 4 fights. And the one win was against a total layup in, I think it was Vinicius Salvador. Ricky Simón, he's more of a grappler. He likes to wrestle. He's got a, decent overhand. He's got decent leg kicks. I think Ricky Simón's probably going to get this one done via the grappling. I think he'll be able to control Adrian Yanez in the clinch, and I think he will be able to get takedowns. And I think his leg kicks, I think he will find success with the kicks on the feet. Adrian Yanez, he got finished by Jonathan Martinez with leg kicks, and I think Simón will be able to do a little bit of decent damage to the calves. Now, Ricky Simón, he doesn't really have very good striking defense, and Adrian Yanez, he is a pretty solid boxer. He's got decent power behind his punches, but I don't think that Ricky Simón will give Adrian Yanez the chance to get going or to get comfortable in this fight. Adrian Yanez, he's not the quickest starter. He likes to kind of make reads or get into a bit of a flow and groove. And I think Ricky Simón's grappling and kicks will disrupt that flow and groove of Adrian Yanez. So I'm picking Ricky Simón to probably get this one done by a 29-28 decision. Moving up, we have Navajo Sterling taking on Bruno Lopez. I'm going Navajo Sterling with this one. From what I've seen with Bruno Lopez, I can't lie, I haven't done the most tape study on him, but I can't even really tell you what Bruno Lopez does. Like, I don't even know what he's really good at. Like, the one thing I remember seeing him from a fight was him getting knocked out by Dustin Jacoby. Navajo Sterling is almost just as good of a kickboxer as Dustin Jacoby, except he doesn't have really any finishing potential. Navajo Sterling, he is a pretty decent kickboxer. He's shown the ability to go the full distance at a solid pace. I think Navajo Sterling's going to get this one done via his good old 30-27 decision, or maybe he'll get a 29-28. I don't know. This isn't a very complex fight to predict. Give me Navajo Sterling by a unanimous decision win. Next up, we have Casey O'Neill versus Gabriel Fernandez. Close fight, pretty close stylistically, but I'm giving it to Gabriela Fernandez. She's got good power, but behind her strikes, and she's pretty explosive on the feet too. Plus, she's got pretty solid jiu-jitsu. Casey O'Neill, she's a high output fighter in the striking, and she's got a decent ground game of her own, but I do think that Gabriela Fernandez is slightly better in the grappling. On the feet, Casey O'Neill, she does throw high output. Yeah, Gabriela Fernandez, she isn't always the most high output on the feet, but Casey O'Neill, she doesn't have any head movement. She doesn't have very good striking defense. She kind of just moves forward and keeps her head straight down the line, where she will be clipped by Gabriela Fernandez. Most of the strikes Gabriela Fernandez throws, she will probably be able to land because Casey O'Neill doesn't have very good striking defense or head movement. I mean, maybe Casey O'Neill could output her, but I don't think that's likely. I think Gabriela Fernandez, I think she will be able to land her big shots on the feet. I think she'll rock Casey O'Neill a couple of times in this fight. And I think the grappling exchanges will be competitive, but I think Gabriela Fernandez will hold a slight advantage there. So I'm giving it to Gabriela Fernandez to probably win a decently competitive decision, like a 29-28 decision. Next up, in the Big Titty Committee, we have Marcin Tybura taking on Tyrell Fortune. I'm picking Tyrell Fortune to win this one. I do like Marcin Tybura. He is a very solid grappler. He's actually got one of the best ground games in the heavyweight division, but I don't think this fight's going to go there. He's not the most high-level wrestler. He doesn't really have anything in the striking department. Whereas Tyrell Fortune, he has decent takedown defense, and he's pretty powerful, and he's shown before that he can go a good pace and not slow down much. And Marcin Tybura getting up there in age at the great age of 40 years old. I think Tyrell Fortune's got it in this one. I can see him getting it done with like a second round TKO maybe. I would like to see Marcin Tybura win here. I was rooting for Marcin Tybura to make it out of the UFC Apex. It's good seeing him in front of crowds, but I don't think it's going to go his way this time. Give me Tyrell Fortune to probably win by a second round TKO. Next up, we have Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson Jr. I'm giving the edge to... I'm leaning Chase Hooper to win this one. He should probably get this one done. I think he's got the better ground game between the two fighters. He does have a very solid ground game. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. I mean, on the feet, he does look like a little bit like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but he does have some long, rangy tools on the feet. Like, when he had first entered the UFC, he looked terrible on the feet. Like, he didn't even know what striking was. We've seen him improve slightly in that department. I do know that he got knocked out in his last fight with Alexander Hernandez. I was there to witness that, but I don't think Lance Gibson Jr. is as good as Alexander Hernandez on the feet. He's not very high output. He's pretty low output, actually. He's an all-right grappler, but that is where Chase Hooper holds his big advantage. And Bobby Green, he used some rangy-ish like kicks and tools against Lance Gibson Jr. that helped him win that fight in the striking department. And I think Chase Hooper can do similar things to what Bobby Green did, and plus he holds an advantage in the grappling. I think Chase Hooper should probably get this one done. I don't know if he's going to get a late submission or if he'll just win a decision, but I'm giving it to Chase Hooper. So give me Chase Hooper to beat Lance Gibson Jr. Moving up, the prelim feature bout, Ignacio Bahamondes versus Tofik Musayev. I'm going Ignacio Bahamondes to win this one. He's got like what, a 5-inch height advantage, a 6-inch reach advantage. Tofik Musayev, he's not much of a grappler, so that's something Ignacio Bahamondes will not have to worry about entering this fight. This fight will be predominantly spent on the feet. Tofik Musayev, he's not that high level of a striker. He leaves openings to be countered, kind of like Manuel Torres did, and Manuel Torres is better than Tofik Musayev, I'd say. So I think Ignacio Bahamondes should be able to get this one done and get himself back in the win column. I don't think this is a very hard fight to pick. Give me Ignacio Bahamondes to win. Next up, we have the ultimate glass cannon himself, Terrence McKinney, taking on Kyle Nelson. I'm going with Terrence McKinney here. Kyle Nelson, he's not a very fast starter, and he doesn't really have KO threat like that. Like, the type of fighters who, like, finish Terrence McKinney are guys who have good power behind their punches and strikes. And Kyle Nelson, he's got all right power, but it's nothing too grave. And he doesn't really start fast in fights. He kind of wants to get into a flow and groove, and that's where Terrence McKinney with this very aggressive and wild style, looking to finish fights as soon as possible. That's where it will be effective. I've seen Kyle Nelson wilt before against Steve Garcia when things got tough for him. And Terrence McKinney, he's the better grappler in this fight too. He's got a pretty good submission game. I think Terrence McKinney's going to get this one done in the first. If it makes it past the first round, Kyle Nelson could probably be able to get the win, but I do not think this fight goes past the first round. I think Terrence McKinney will finish Kyle Nelson in the first 5 minutes of this fight, whether by teeing off on him on the fence with wild punches and bunches and he crumbles against it, or maybe he can submit him on the ground in a grappling exchange. But either way, I think Terrence McKinney has this one. So give me Terrence McKinney to win this fight by a first-round finish. Next up, in the middleweight division, we have Mansur Abdulmalik taking on Yusri Belgoroi. I'm picking Yusri Belgoroi to win this one. Mansur Abdulmalik, I think he's a little bit of an overrated prospect, if he even is that highly rated. He's not very high level on the feet. He's a little bit wild. Yeah, he's got pretty good power behind his punches, but, I mean, I saw the dude go to war with Cody Brundage, which isn't a very look. And Yusri Belgoroi, he is a very high-level striker. He's got a very good jab, very solid kick game. He's got good combinations. He's got a big height advantage entering this fight. Somehow he doesn't hold the reach advantage entering this fight, but he will be the longer, taller fighter in this matchup. Mansur Abdulmalik, his best way to win is to wrestle and control Yusri Belgoroi on the ground, which he can probably get takedowns in this fight, but Yusri Belgoroi, he has a very solid takedown defense, and he has an even better ability to scramble and return to his feet after getting taken down. I just think Mansur Abdulmalik is just a slightly better version of Azamat Bikoyev, and we saw what Yusri Belgoroi did to him. I don't see this one being a whole lot different. I think Yusri Belgoroi is probably going to find a late round TKO in this one, where he outdamages him on the feet, and maybe Mansur Abdulmalik, he racks up a couple minutes of control time in some of the rounds, but it's not enough to match the damage that Yusri Belgoroi has done on the feet, and he will be getting outputted on the feet. And yeah, I think Yusri Belgoroi, I think he will cruise his way to either a decision win or a late round stoppage where he will start to put everything together. So give me Yusri Belgoroi to win this one. Moving up in the featherweight division, we have Julian Erosa versus Larian Douglas. I'm going with Larian Douglas by KO. He's got a lot of power behind his punches, decent boxing. Julian Erosa, he's always been a brawler, a take one to give one type of fighter. He's got a pretty good submission skills in his arsenal, but I don't think this one's going to go to the ground. I think Julian Erosa's chin's going to get cracked here. Larian Douglas is probably going to knock him out. Julian Erosa's never had good striking defense, and after all the wars he's been in, he's probably nearing the end of his career. I think he turns like 37 this year. So yeah, he's not far off from 40. Yeah, I think Larian Douglas is going to find the early knockout in this one. So give me Larian Douglas by a first-round KO. Next up, a generational matchup in the welterweight division. Michael Chiesa in his retirement fight versus the last dodo bird, Nico Price. Michael Chiesa getting a good fight for his retirement fight. I think Michael Chiesa will be able to win. Nico Price, he's not a good grappler. He doesn't really have a great scrambling capabilities, and he doesn't have good takedown defense. Michael Chiesa, he's a decently big welterweight. I think he's the stronger guy entering this matchup. I think he will be able to take down Nico Price and submit him, or just control him whenever he does take him down. Nico Price, I mean, it's good to see the last dodo bird still kicking it, but, I mean, when's the last time he has won a fight, really? I mean, he used to be getting KOs back in the day from like bottom position, up kicks and hammer fists off his back. But nowadays, he's kind of just a layup for any new prospects or guys in their retirement fights. I think Michael Chiesa should probably get an easy decision win via his grappling or a submission win. Very interested in seeing the after retirement interview where they play all of Michael Chiesa's great highlights of him either getting submissions or him just moving around the octagon outside. Because, I mean, he's only landed, like, what, one strike on the feet in his entire career before. But, give me Michael Chiesa to win this fight, either by decision or a submission. Just give me Chiesa to win. Next up, in the co-main events, a rematch in the women's flyweight division between Alexa Grasso and Maycee Barber. I do think this is a competitive matchup, but I'm giving the nod to Maycee Barber to win this one. She's very hungry. She's very aggressive. She's kind of like WMMA's Benoit Saint Denis, where she's mostly barbaric and does her best work in the grappling. Alexa Grasso, in her last two fights, she hasn't when things aren't going well for Alexa Grasso early in a fight, she hasn't shown a very good ability to adjust. Like, she's getting outpointed by Natalia Silva at range, and she just lets it happen for 3 rounds and doesn't make any adjustments to that style, and she gets 30-27. She's getting taken down, rinse and repeat early by Valentina Shevchenko, and she doesn't make any adjustments, and it happens to her for the rest of the fight, and she gets 50-45. Alexa Grasso, she doesn't have very good takedown defense, and Maycee Barber really likes to grapple. She's very aggressive, very offensive. I think she's just going to output Alexa Grasso in this fight and probably cruise to a decision win. In their first fight, Maycee Barber was only 22 years old. Alexa Grasso hasn't really improved much since that fight, and Maycee Barber has. I think Maycee Barber's gonna outdog Alexa Grasso simply in this fight and get a decision win, probably a 29-28 decision win. So give me Maycee Barber to win a decision. Next up in the main event, we have Israel Adesanya taking on Joe Pyfer. Who am I picking in this one? Adesanya or Pyfer? Dog Bender Izzy or Body Cam Off Joe? I'm going with Izzy to win this one, actually. Joe Pyfer, he's not a very high-level boxer. All he has on the feet is a right hand. He doesn't really have an ability to set the right hand up with, jabs or feints or combinations or anything like that. He really does only throw the right hand. Adesanya should be able to move away from the right hand and avoid it. He has good footwork. Joe Pyfer, he has no leg kick defense. He gassed out against Jack Hermanson after 2 rounds. He got tired against Kelvin Gastelum. He doesn't have a good gas tank. He does not have the ability to win in a 5-rounder by decision, where Adesanya does. Joe Pyfer, he's going to be getting kicked up at range, and he's going to gas out. And he's going to probably try and wrestle Izzy in this fight because that is his best path to victory, to grapple Izzy and get a submission, or to just land a big KO. But he's going to try and wrestle in this fight, and that isn't going to work very well. Adesanya, he has good takedown defense, and he has even better get-ups. He's got a very good scrambling ability, and Joe Pyfer, unlike Nasruddin Imavov, he can't relentlessly attack takedowns early in a fight to set up Izzy for an overhand right after a takedown feint, because he will gas himself out early. Again, the leg kicks will be there all night for Izzy because Joe Pyfer doesn't have good kick defense, and he doesn't have very good stamina. So all Izzy really does have to do is cruise around for the first 2 rounds, and then he should be able to pick things up and pick apart Joe Pyfer from rounds 3, 4, and 5. I'm thinking I'm picking Israel Adesanya to win this one. Maybe Joe Pyfer lands a big KO punch, but I just don't really think that's very likely. Like, I don't like to rely on puncher's chance in fights, and I don't think this is one where puncher's chance is going to get the job done. So I think Adesanya, I think the fight's going to play out in the early going. Joe Pyfer's going to be attempting takedowns. Adesanya will be stuffing them. Joe Pyfer's going to be looking to clench. Adesanya will be kicking up Pyfer from range. After the first 2 rounds, the fight being the same for the first 2 rounds, Joe Pyfer trying to grapple and Adesanya being able to defend the grappling exchange as well, return to his feet or defend takedowns. He'll be kicking up Pyfer from range, and after the first 2 rounds, Izzy will start to pick things up and get a little more offensive, and that is where he will probably win himself a 49-46 decision. So give me Israel Adesanya to win this fight by a unanimous decision.